Mandy and I welcome you back to The Chosen's blended harmony of the Gospels. We are on day 15, part 1, the feeding of the 5,000. And as you can see, I have my 5 and 2 shirt on, so we can feed the 5,000 with 5 loaves and 2 fish. The feeding of the 5,000. Now the Passover, a Jewish festival, was near. So when Jesus looked up and noticed a huge crowd coming toward him, he asked Philip, "Where will we buy bread so that these people can eat?" He asked this to test him, for he himself knew what he was going to do. Jesus is like that, isn't he? Philip answered him, 200 denarii worth of bread wouldn't be enough for each of them to have a little. One of his disciples, Andrew, Simon Peter's brother, said to him, "There's a boy here who has 5 barley loaves and 2 fish, but what are they for so many?" His disciples approached him and said, "This place is deserted, and it is already late. Send them away so that they can go into the surrounding countryside and villages to buy themselves something to eat." "They don't need to go away," Jesus told them. "You give them something to eat." And they said to him, "Should we go and buy 200 denarii worth of bread and give them something to eat?" He said to them, "How many loaves do you have? Go and see." "We have no more than 5 loaves and 2 fish," they said, "unless we go and buy food for all these people." "Bring them here to me," he said. Jesus said, "Have the people sit down." Then he instructed them to have all the people sit down in groups on the green grass. So they sat down in groups of hundreds and fifties. He took the 5 loaves and 2 fish, and looking up to heaven, he blessed them. After giving thanks, he broke the loaves and kept giving them to his disciples to set before the people. He also divided the 2 fish among them, as much as they wanted. Everyone ate and was satisfied. When they were full, he told his disciples, "Collect the leftovers so that nothing is wasted." So they collected them and filled 12 baskets with the pieces from the 5 barley loaves that were left over by those who had eaten. Now, those who ate were about 5,000 men, besides women and children. When the people saw the signs he had done, they said, "This truly is the prophet who is to come into the world." Therefore, Jesus realized they were about to come and take him by force to make him king. Immediately, he made the disciples get into the boat and go ahead of him to the other side, while he dismissed the crowd. After he said goodbye to them, he went away to the mountain to pray. Well into the night, he was there alone. So many great things in this story too. Okay, so it's really interesting to me when he's asking them. He asked Philip, "Where will we buy bread so these people can eat?" Even though he knew what he was going to do. Philip answered, 200 denarii worth of bread wouldn't be enough for each of them to have a little. So 200 denarii is about an average man's wages. So just think of taking your whole salary and going to buy bread for people. But then I love Andrew. He has a solution. "There's a boy here who has 5 barley loaves and 2 fish, but what are they for so many?" So it's interesting, you have a positive and negative response. Philip was kind of negative. He was saying it would take a whole year's wages and it even wouldn't be enough. But Andrew was just like, well, we have this boy here with 5 loaves and 2 fish. Maybe that could work out. So it's interesting, they're different perspectives. So I hope in life you can always be the positive person who comes in with a solution and not just be, a negative Norman. But then Jesus said, "They don't need to go away. You give them something to eat." So I love that line right there because Jesus is saying, I'm not going to do it. You do it. You give them something. I mean, he could have done the miracle right there, but he's kind of setting them up to see that they can be part of the miracle. And I hope you don't miss that part because so often we're just like, well, God, just do it. Just fix everything. But there's things that we can do and things that you can do and sometimes things we can do together. So the 12 of them working together, right? They went and found the 5 loaves and 2 fish and now they're going to take all the baskets and they're going to go out. But the baskets will be blessed as they go. But it kind of took some teamwork. So I love how God just doesn't allow Jesus to go in and just solve the problem immediately. He helps them to be part of the solution. So he says, "Bring them to me, the loaves and the fish, and then have the people sit down in groups." Then he took the 5 loaves and 2 fish, and looking up to heaven, he blessed them. And there's the miracle. They had the 5 and 2, the 5 loaves and 2 fish, and then he blessed them. And it turned into so much that they fed 5,000. And back then, when they would count, 5,000 was the men. That didn't really include the women and children. And you figure most men were married and had at least 2 kids. So there could have been up to 20,000 people there. But no matter the number, there was so much fish and bread that they had 12 baskets left over. each disciple brought a basket back that was full. And I think that was on purpose as well, because Jesus wanted to remind them, not only are you going to be part of the miracle, but I am going to satisfy the people, and even to overflowing, that there was extra left over. But then he realized that they were going to force him to be king because of all the miracles, so he said goodbye to them and went away to a mountain to pray. So that's important too, that he took time to go away, right? He said, I don't want to be the king. They were looking for a military king. It wasn't his time yet. And so he went over here to pray. So we also need to be praying and taking time to rest like that, as well as being part of the miracles. So a lot of great lessons in here, and I hope you enjoyed that story, and I hope you can have the faith, and that you can also just realize, you know what, I'm going to bring what I have. I'm just going to bring my 5 and 2. That's all I can offer Jesus, and he knows that's all you can offer. But he's going to take that little bit and he's going to multiply it so much that you're going to have some left over. So trust him today to do a big miracle in your life, and we'll see you back here tomorrow for some more Harmony of the Gospels. You can get your own copy of A Blended Harmony of the Gospels by The Chosen simply by going to thechosengifts.com. There you can find all kinds of wonderful merchandise to help build your faith this year. Be sure to check out their devotionals and their Bible studies. Have a blessed day.